Hey everyone, welcome to Swimming in Stars Astrology. I'm your host, EP Archer. This is part of our instructional series on relationships, and I want to give you some tools of you've created your Synastry chart either on astro.com or had a professional astrologer create it for you, and now you want to know, oh my gosh, what am I looking at? So I'm going to just give a couple little examples on here on where to start. I'm going to start with just any relationship, any basic connection, what to look for, just some few introductory ideas. And I'll do some follow-up videos on, marriage, twin flame, soulmate, partnerships that are a little bit more involved and deep on the next one. So here we go. Let's try this out. Like I said, if you don't want to do all of that rigmarole of trying to create it yourself online, I am happy to do that for you. I have a service for $10. I can create 4 different charts of your choice. Yours, a partner synastry composite. I can make them all look beautiful and clean and send you a ping in a PDF and grids as well. You can see right here I have the circle. I can also print the grids for you, or if you like the dials, lots of different ways to look at the charts. So here's my chart as an example, and I'm going to go ahead and do a partner chart with Whoopi Goldberg. I just was looking through famous people, and that way we can keep this kind of like funny and anonymous. But anyway, I thought Whoopi Goldberg has a really cool chart, and her chart matches with mine kind of in a cool way. So the first thing that I always teach people to look for are conjunctions. And conjunctions are really easy to see because you can just see 2 planets are like kind of colliding. So let me show you the conjunctions here in this relationship chart. So we've got right here, and it's in a funny green color, so I'm going to make it purple. So if you look right here, we've got the moon and Uranus. Here we've got Mercury in the north node, and then here we have Venus and Neptune, and the north node with Mars and the north node with the sun. Those are pretty close together, so those are all conjunct. And then we've got, what have we got here? This isn't on it. Oh, right here we have Chiron and Venus, and Chiron is also with the ascendant. When you're looking at this, I should have said before, I'm the inner wheel, and then Whoopi is the outer wheel. Looks like Whoopi and I have a lot to talk about. Okay, all joking aside, and then here's Uranus going to the moon. So the first thing I'm going to do when I look at a chart like this is look at the conjunctions. And if you're looking at a chart for someone who's born within a few years of you, that's another reason I wanted to pick Whoopi. Born within a few years of you is going to have a lot of conjunctions just because of your age, right? So your outer planets are going to be similar, like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, maybe in the same spot. And if you're born more than 7 years apart, or if one of you is born during a retrograde cycle, then you could have different outer planets. But we kind of incarnate in these groups to get like global things done, and that's why our outer planets can match up. But remember, even if your outer planets match up, it's still in different houses in your chart. So let me erase all this stuff and just show you it's really helpful before you do all of this to go ahead and just say, okay, let's look at EP's chart. What are the main features where you want to look at the sun and Venus and Mars and the moon and the rising? Those are the basic relationship markers. But if you're looking for something a little bit more deep, a little bit more destiny, you want to look at things like the north node and the south node. You want to look at Chiron. You want to look at Pluto. You want to look at Uranus. And those things are actually really, really important. The other thing is different types of relationships. So we're looking for blue lines or a trine, and you'll go to read in these like relationship advice columns and books. It'll say, somebody just posted on the group today, oh, well, if I have, these are harmonious and these are not. And I think she called them positive and negative. And I get really frustrated with websites and just, computer programs and people who list things as positive and negative, because really there's obviously some things are easier, facilitated, harmonious, they just work. But that doesn't necessarily mean positive. What if you're a person who needs growth and challenge and needs to be looking at things from a different perspective, and you're in a relationship with someone where everything is easy? That's not necessarily what you need. And the ones that people call negative or difficult or hard, I really like for you to look at them as growth aspects, as ways of evolving, of ways of becoming a better person in the world. And I think you'll notice the couples that you know um, that have what quote unquote difficult aspects or have squares or have hard aspects. These are couples that are strong couples, and they know how to work through things, and they know how to stay together. And if you're looking at a relationship chart that's a work environment, those are people working together that complement each other because they think about things differently, and they both have to get around a corner to meet. But the advantage of that is the business is more prosperous and is more diverse because of the different points of view and the different strengths of each people. Each people. Of each person. Okay, sorry, it's at the end of eclipse weekend, so I'm just a little bit eclipse ride. Okay, so let's look at Whoopie. So if we just look at Whoopie, and we can check out and see what she's going on. She's a new moon, right? And she's got a stellium in Scorpio. And the other chart we're looking at is a stellium in Sagittarius. So two stellium charts, that's an interesting thing. That's something where when you're looking at a deeper connection, those people relate to each other just because they have that conglomeration of energy, even though it's in different signs. Um, and then we see Pluto and Jupiter conjunct, so there's some power there and self-expression that needs to happen in relationships. And then when I look at Whoopi, we've got Uranus in the sixth house, having like that power to break through and break free. And she has Sagittarius on her midheaven. So if I hadn't looked at her chart before, she has Sagittarius and Venus and Sagittarius on her midheaven, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking of it that way when I combine it with EP's chart. So when I go over here and I combine it with EP's chart, I'm just looking at it from EP's point of view. And so I don't see that cool feature of Venus on the midheaven necessarily right away. So it's really good to look at just one person's chart and then just another's and then combine them. So once you look for conjunctions, if you have a grid, and astro.com will provide this as well, it's a really fast way to just see what pops up, and you can see where the squares are popping up. So moon square moon, moon square Mercury. Here's a part where you kind of have to have your symbols memorized, but you can always download a legend and print it. I can do that too if you're a part of one of my readings. Then we have Saturn square moon, Saturn square sun, and then a bunch of squares over here with Chiron and the nodes and Uranus. And then it's my Chiron and her Uranus in the nodes, and then her Chiron and my Chiron. So those are some interesting opportunities for growth and healing and thinking outside the box and working hard to be from different points of view. I didn't mention Saturn, but Saturn is also a really important thing to look at in relationship charts. Saturn is commitment and stability and long-term viability. So you can look at your Saturn interactions. And then when you look at like the North Node and the South Node is usually something that feels like past life experience. The North Node is usually something that feels like destiny. Like you meet someone and you've known them all your life, or you're destined to be together. Like I said, Venus and Mars are the ones they always tell you to look at, but you're not necessarily looking for your two Venus to be compatible or your two Mars to be compatible. You're looking for the Venus in one chart and how it interacts with the other chart. So like some of the apps, like the CoStar app, will just say like, well, your Venus is, cardinal fire and your Venus is mutable water, so those don't mix. But what if your mutable water Venus also matched with a mutable fire Mars? And so I think it's like complex in the way people interact. But start by looking at the conjunctions and then just see what you notice as far as energies that way. See what's combined. And then after you look at that, I just look and see, is there any interaction with the nodes? Is there any interaction with Chiron? And you can see in this sort of example chart that we have here, there's definitely some interaction with Chiron and Venus there. There's some interaction with nodes here. And so there's different things to look at that way too. Pluto can be really, really cool too. It can be painful or it can be amazing. And we'll get more into depth about which angles and which aspects and which planets can be helpful. But just to get you started, go ahead and get your charts out, look for some conjunctions, look to see if you have any Venus or Mars activity, see if you have any destiny or past life activity in your chart. And as always, I'm here to help. So we'll go a little bit deeper on the next one. And in the near future, I will be offering relationship, twin flame, synastry, partner mini sessions for you and your partner. And for those of you that would like it, I can create full color charts for that too. All right, so be well. Happy eclipse season. Let's think about our partners and ourselves, and let's transform on this higher journey. Be well, and I'll see you soon.